More turbulence for Boeing after a series of safety issues and financial losses in the hundreds of millions. U.S. lawmakers are now vowing to hold the aerospace manufacturer accountable.
So in order to have a truly safe system, it seems to me that we can't rely on the manufacturers themselves to be their own watchdogs. Is that something you would agree with?
So the Federal Aviation Administration oversees passenger plane safety. They're facing questions from U.S. Congress. It said the current system isn't working, and they admit there needs to be changes. But what changes are needed and what consequences could be coming? For a closer look, we're joined by John Graddick, lecturer at McGill University School of Aviation Management. Good to have you on this story, John. I was curious about your perspective. I know you're watching closely. Listen, they have had multiple issues in the past few years. That Boeing 737 MAX 8 crashing off the coast of Indonesia. Then there was the MAX 8 crashing in Ethiopia in 2019, a year later. Last month, that door blew off the MAX 9 Alaska Airlines flight. And this week, a worker discovered the holes drilled in the wrong places in 50 out of more than 300 MAX aircrafts in production. What kind of trouble are they in?
Big trouble. I think they are. They're losing credibility. They're losing trust. There are going to be, a lot of questions being asked over the next couple of weeks. Further to the NTSB report yesterday, the NTSB said the bolts were never put on. They weren't lost. They were never put on that panel when the panel was taken off by Boeing. That to me is unforgivable. But the other thing that concerns me is when that MAX 9 grounding was done, and we've had a number, both Alaska and United said while they inspected that panel, they found loose bolts and untightened bolts. So, it's not just it's one incident on this one airplane where they didn't have the bolts, but on other inspections, bolts were loose. So there is a workmanship problem. There is a quality control problem at Boeing.
Well, you mentioned lack of trust. So much so that, I don't know if you saw this, but Saturday Night Live did a skit where they said Boeing is the sound that the screws make when they're popping out of the planes. Like, that's where their reputation level is at. We know they've been barred from increasing production on their 737 MAX line. Plus, it's been ordered to ground some of the 737 MAX 9 jets. So an airline regulator has also now opened an investigation into their safety compliance, and the FAA is pledging to hold them accountable for the violations. So what does all that look like?
It's a very strong indictment of the Boeing culture and the Boeing way of building airplanes. And that's really something that has evolved over, I would say, over the last decade. The FAA, in its wisdom a few years ago, decided that it was going to get out of the certification business and the safety oversight business at the manufacturer's level. They delegated the authority to supervise and to sign off on these aircraft to the manufacturer, to Boeing. And I think the FAA's head yesterday, Mr. Whitaker, said, oops, that may have been a mistake. So they're going back into that and reviewing, how do we in fact look at making sure that the aircraft that are being built by Boeing meet the safety standards that we've come to expect of a commercial aircraft when it's being delivered.
It's unbelievable, again, to keep watching those pictures. John, thanks for your insight today.
My pleasure, Anne-Marie. Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.